We have added generative integration to each of those places. So not just a end of the line, here's the prompt, here's a way to interact with an LLM around your data, but here's how to enhance your data. And, during the ingest, let's enhance it before it moves in. Let's enhance it and push it back into those source applications through every step of the process. We can then take advantage of the power of the LLMs. And I'll show you just how simple that is.
Regina Goodman, Senior Solutions Engineer at SnapLogic. Thank you for coming to Powered by Snowflake.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I want to learn a lot about SnapLogic today. So please, what is SnapLogic?
So SnapLogic is an integration platform that was actually founded by Gaurav Dhillon, who, before he started SnapLogic, had founded Informatica. In this changing technology landscape, he realized that being able to combine application integration, API management, your classic ETL, ELT into a single platform was going to be very important towards having data at the center of businesses, which is exactly where we're at right now. In addition, he wanted to build this company in a cloud-first manner, seeing this as a way to make technology more accessible for users without a huge amount of technical training as an entry point. And he has very much executed on that vision. I fell in love with SnapLogic as a customer quite a few years ago now, and can personally attest to the huge amount of empathy that's built into this platform, ease of use, and then the ability to expand beyond, your classic job descriptions by being limited with tools or having to use a ton of different technology to get one job done, which really allowed me to expand my range.
I like that word, empathy, and making that useful and easy to use.
Absolutely. Every now and then you find an application where you feel like somebody thought through what can I put on the market that's going to have a response, and actually thought about how am I going to make it easier for this person to do their job? What is that like? And, just little things that are simpler and made me feel seen.
So when you first fell in love with SnapLogic, what were you doing with it?
Yeah, so I was running a data architecture team. We had a data warehousing project that had gone through several teams and not succeeded. We were in the middle of splitting out from a company we had been part of, Outerwall. And so we were migrating into AWS. We were moving into all of our own systems. And that's a lot to take on. We had also purchased another company that we were a .NET shop. They were all open source, entirely incompatible. And in order to make value out of that acquisition, all of that data needed to stop being siloed, and yesterday. SnapLogic helped us get there. I think that the data warehouse project that had been failing for the previous 3 years and had just been through a consulting outsourcing for about 9 months, we had it live within 3 months after signing the contract. So made me a believer.
I see that. And where is SnapLogic today? How is it different?
Gosh, in so many ways. So I mentioned, data integration, application integration. We have added our own really fully functional API management solution. And recently, we have really accelerated our generative integration in a very democratized way. So everything that we do allows you to work within your architecture.
So you have a demo for us today.
I do, and I'm going to admit it's a bit Snowflake-centric, but I did not make it for our meeting today. This is something I show people all of the time, and it very much takes those real-time insights that you guys are great at providing, and where we really help is by taking those and pushing those back into the users where they sit without them having to go look for them, making Snowflake really kind of a central hub of all of that knowledge that's getting refined within.
Nice. I like when you say Snowflake-centric and that you're going to put a real business use case in front of this. Do you have an architecture diagram that we can review?
I do.
Excellent.
So what I have here is a fairly typical use case for us, and this is what you're going to see in most enterprises at the moment. So we're starting out and we have, our data sources, our applications, and right now this is just ever growing, now more than ever. From there we have what we're doing with that. So we've got micro batching, we've got CDC and replication, we've got streaming data, and all of this data is going into the Snowflake Cloud Data Platform. And, for use in ETL, ELT, pushdown, and then finally getting pushed back to either the business through analytics, reporting, machine learning and modeling, or into synchronizations with CRMs and ERPs, and more often sharing. Those can be exposed as APIs or using Snowflake's data sharing as well.
So where is SnapLogic here?
We'll start, and I think you could have assumed that we're going to be in the ingest. So we are there, we connect to really anything, anytime, anywhere. So if it's on-prem, if it's something we've never heard of before, we still have a way to connect and ingest that data into Snowflake. And then again, in terms of how we're ingesting that data or what we're doing with that, we work across the board in terms of, micro batching, replication. We are in the middle of ETL and ELT, and then everything that we read from, we also write to, which allows us to then take Snowflake and put that at the center here of kind of this organization's hub. All of that cleansing that you're putting into your data warehouse in order to make sure your reporting is correct, let's go ahead and use the same logic and get that back into those source applications so we're not cleaning that same dirty data every day. That's really where we fit in here. And now, within the last year, what we've really done is we have added generative integration to each of those places. So not just a end of the line, here's the prompt, here's a way to interact with an LLM around your data, but here's how to enhance your data. And, during the ingest, let's enhance it before it moves in, let's enhance it and push it back into those source applications through every step of the process. We can then take advantage of the power of the LLMs, and I'll show you just how simple that is.
This is awesome. SnapLogic is everywhere, and it's helping the whole process. Can we see it in action now?
Absolutely. So what you have here is a SnapLogic pipeline, and this is designed to act as a webhook. So any pipeline within SnapLogic can be run like a batch job. It can also be exposed as an API, just as simple as how you schedule that. So we have an open input here. This will get called as a webhook, in this case from Salesforce, when products are attached to an opportunity. So snap by snap, what you can see here is it's a very simple interface where you're basically walked through your setup. So I'm here taking some product IDs and just splitting those out. Now, every snap is also going to give me a preview. So you can see, really, it's nothing exciting here. I've just sent in my products. But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a database lookup for those. And then I'm going to actually kick off an ELT job within Snowflake, which is going to look something like this. You can see here we've got, data cleansing, joining, aggregation, all taking place via ELT within Snowflake so that it's happening almost instantaneously across a huge amount of data. From there, we're doing a little bit more of a cleanup, and in this case, using Titan embedding, because we're going to review against some competing products that we have scraped off of. I think we've got 50,000 or so competing products. Now, when this was originally set up, it was before we had the embedding within Snowflake.
So we could move this.
And so, yes, and I'm going to show you later on where I am going to use the Snowflake embedding in Cortex as well, and that'll be pushed down ELT.
I like it. And because we can see the components here, we can switch and improve each component.
Exactly. As the architecture changed, I was able to immediately take advantage of the introduction of Cortex embeddings. And that didn't mean that I immediately had to re-engineer my entire process. But the next time I make a change, of course, I'm going to move that over. So The reason that I am embedding my product information after all of that cleansing is because I am going to search that against those scraped products. And I'm going to do that with a quick vector search using the Snowflake vector data type. Again, very straightforward. I'm only returning things with a similarity score of more than 72. That turned out to be our sweet spot.
I like the name of the table, Rival Product Profiles.
Oh yes, they're the enemy.
Nice.
So again, we're going to go through some data cleaning. You can see here, maybe not as complex a pipeline as before. And what I'm really doing is I'm taking now all of my product data and all of my rival product data, and I'm just kind of pushing those into a giant data blob. Before now, I'm going to go ahead and use Cortex embedding and another Snowflake vector search. And what I'm doing here is I have scraped over 800,000 news articles. And I am finding any news articles that have a similarity with my product information, the rival products. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to have 3 data sets and an objective, which I can then use to engineer a prompt. Now, in this case, you'll see it's fairly straightforward. I have passed in an objective, and I'm asking it to submit an account plan for me. You know, finding strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and based on those 3 data sets. And from there, I'm going to send those straight into Anthropic and then map out the part of the response that I'm looking for. And where this gets really interesting is, of course, I've got this, you know, competitive analysis that I returned. Now, I am, as my final step, writing that back into a custom field within my Salesforce opportunity. So what you're seeing here is that I have taken an action within Salesforce. My user is going about their day-to-day job. Nothing has changed for them. They're not leaving. They're not going into a different interface. And this enhanced data that I want them to have access to is coming back into the application where they're doing their work. So less distractions, less need for everyone to have their own access or trying to standardize processes among people. Instead, I've standardized data. I'm pushing it right back to them. And that takes you kind of back to the architecture where Snowflake now is really the central data hub for my organization.
This is really impressive to see a whole pipeline, visualize it together, see the different components. I have ideas of maybe I want to use a Snowflake Arctic somewhere. I can just go and change that and keep the whole pipeline.
Completely. This was actually for demo purposes. We put a lot more of this into a single. You'll notice when we branched out into those child pipelines, everything can be very modular. It also helps when people are migrating workflows or migrating into Snowflake to be able to have an integration in place, and then over time, maybe even as a configuration, just slowly move from one to the other rather than having to keep 2 totally different processes in sync.
Super cool. And I have to ask, why is the URL snapgpt.labs SnapLogic?
So SnapGPT Labs is our generative integration, almost playground environment. So if you'd like access, we can make it available to you. It's where all of the new functionality around generative integration is first introduced before it makes it into production. So I'm always in here because I'm going to have the latest and greatest. But this is an environment we make available.
Yeah, this is really cool. And to see SnapLogic changing with the times and being so early into the generative AI world.
Honestly, I had been at SnapLogic before. I had mentioned that I have been a customer of SnapLogic, and that was a really big part of why I came back. While other companies were still trying to wrap their head around what was changing, I was reminded of statements that Gaurav Dhillon had made previously that seemed really aspirational at the time, that were really in place. And a lot of how we were architected was for this moment. And so as other companies were just starting to talk about maybe getting an idea of where their data was going before they were running proprietary information through ChatGPT and not necessarily even having a vision of where it went into the product, I believe in May we went live with SnapGPT, which was our own internal copilot. And from there, we were able to very quickly turn that around, enable our users to do exactly what we had done and start embedding this in their processes.
That's super cool. And how are customers of SnapLogic reacting to this?
That's been the most fun part. This is really a chance to partner with our customers, and everyone is figuring this out as we go. And so it's been such an evolving conversation. We started out and there was a lot of conversation about chatbots, and that has quickly evolved into, the workflow that I just showed you. We actually have a customer who's using a very, very similar, almost identical workflow in their production environment. The use cases coming out now are going to, how do I automate my integrations? How do I take my business logic and get rid of the manual steps that I've been using, utilizing the LLMs? And that's something that we're able to help people with. And generally, once people get hands-on, their minds just start running away with the options. So it's been really fun.
I like it. We were all super excited with chatbots at first. They're still exciting, but people are finding use cases beyond that.
Yeah, and that's where we feel we're really well positioned, as part of an integration platform, as part of that data cleansing and machine learning workflow already. And also having that application integration, enabling prompt as a service through APIs. We feel we're really well positioned, not necessarily to do a specific like the chatbot case, but to make it really extensible as these grow, to make it almost kind of future-proof. I think we're right where we need to be. And again, I have to credit, Gaurav was talking about this years ago before I really saw the vision.
You remember that, and that made you come back at the perfect time to SnapLogic.
It was so exciting. How could I not?
For sure. And then you're telling me how, especially in this demo, Snowflake is at the center of it. How do you see Snowflake helping SnapLogic in this world?
I don't think that we could do it without you. The fact that you are consistently releasing, new features, new functionality. The demo I just showed you, being able to utilize Cortex within the workflow for the embeddings, that makes that so much faster, so much more accessible. So that the vision that we're talking about in these kind of instant turnarounds, having this as part of your existing integrations without the additional overhead, Snowflake is perfectly aligned to partner with. We're so happy we're partnering with you here.
That's so cool. How do you see this changing in the future?
If recent conversations with my prospects are any indication, we have no idea. Our imaginations are kind of the limit. And I say that because the conversations that we're having today are so much different than the ones that we were having even a month ago. This is all evolving so quickly, and the more exposure that people get to the technology that's now coming out so quickly, the more creative their ideas are becoming, the more they're finding they can do, and the more aspirational we're getting. And what's great is we're accomplishing it, and I think we're ready for it.
It's so cool right now to be SnapLogic, to be you working with these customers, imagining what's next.
Oh, it really is. I've never felt so much partnership just among an entire industry as I do in this moment.
Thank you, Regina. So where people should go next?
So you can visit us at SnapLogic on LinkedIn or on our website at snaplogic.com, where if you sign up for a demo, we would love to help you design your solution, either for your Snowflake journey and your generative integration aspirations.
So snaplogic.com, your LinkedIn page, you can get a customized demo. That's amazing. Any last words?
No, I really want to thank you for having me, and it has been so great to partner with you, and I'm really looking forward to what's next.
I'm also looking forward to what's next. Thank you so much for coming today, and thank you everyone for watching. For more Snowflake developer content, go to developers.snowflake.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.